All right. Hey, what's happening, everyone? I am the Dragon God of Gaming Dragon, and welcome back to another tier list. And welcome to the Gaming Controllers tier list, where I'm going to be ranking the controllers of yesteryear. So, let's just get started straight the fuck away. So, as you see, we have an S, an A, a B, a D, and I never hold one. What the fuck? Oh, Admiral Blow. C. Oh, wonder why. C. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's start off with the Joy-Cons. These, in and amongst themselves, aren't that bad. I do enjoy myself finding Joy-Cons, but I consistently have them in the grip. I really don't use them outside. What are the chances? Hello, Grizzy. How are you? I accidentally hit the button. Oops. Forgot that was on that was undone. So I'm gonna say C tier because I don't like them outside. And yes, I didn't get myself I got myself a third party Switch controller. So I like myself the Pro controllers and stuff like that. So that's why I'm gonna probably put this up in A tier. Pretty good. The Xbox, well, the original, I believe this is the newer one. I could be mistaken because I know the next one next after it is the Duke. Used for the 360. Okay, this is a 360 controller. Okay, I've held this. It it feels really fucking good. Solid A tier. Because I really did enjoy it because I had a good amount of friends who had the Xbox console. I always had a PlayStation model. The PlayStations were my bread and butter, so I did always have a PlayStation controller in hand as a kid. So that was my thing of choice. Yes, I was a Sony kid. I wasn't an Xbox kid, but I did hold a good amount of these controllers. Like the Duke, I did hold, which still be kind of clunky, but it did what it needed to do. And this is an A tier because I had a good amount of friends who had an Xbox 360 growing up in the teens. So yeah, immediate S tier. I love the original Super Nintendo controller. I Again, one of my first systems I ever played on is the first system I ever played on, and to this day, I still feel just the layout of the controller. It just feels really good in your hand. So I did enjoy this controller. PS4. I'm gonna. It's gonna be going in one of these two. It's in one of these two. I'm gonna put it in B, and I'm gonna put it at the top of B. The controller itself feels really fucking good. But no, no, know what? I'm gonna have to put it down around. But it is at the top of B. Um, and it's because sometimes it felt really flimsy. The PS4 controller really did feel a little bit flimsy in my hand, and I fucking hated that because as a person is like hands massive, um, one of the big things that I hated was if I'm gripping a controller, I don't want to feel like it's gonna break on me, and sometimes that it is. I'm not gonna try to dock points for it based on you know previous generations because That's what they were made for. They really wasn't, something that was, meant to be for the hardcore gamer, you know what I mean? But this was, and I felt like in my hands, I kind of felt a little bit more flimsy than, the 360 controller, so I'm gonna give that points. The I believe this is Neo Geo? I think this is the one controller I'm gonna say I never held. Is this Neo Geo? Sega Saturn. Never held the Saturn. But I did held the Genesis. I'm gonna put this at B because I really don't know. I'm gonna put this at B because I really don't know, but I do remember holding it. It was actually pretty decent, so it did skirt the line for me. But you know what? I should put this downward because I don't know too much. So I'm gonna put this at C. So, or no, 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 no. I got it. I got it. Adaro. I'm gonna put don't know too much. So that's where that's gonna be put. Wii U, never held it. Never bought that piece of fucking shit. Ooh. Ooh, are these both in like the same area? Is this still PlayStation 1? I believe so. This is where they added the analog controls. So original Sony Dual Shock. Yeah. Yeah. I've held both of these motherfuckers. This is going in A, and this itself is going in B. The A, because I did own the original PlayStation 1. I held the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I can speak very heavily on all these controllers. And I can personally say this. When it came with the analog stick, oh my god, the game changed. So definitely A tier. But this in and of itself was a very uniquely designed controller. I really did enjoy this controller. And to be honest, it served what it needed to serve when it did. But when it came out with the analog sticks, oh my god, it changed. It changed. The PlayStation 2. The controller that I spent so much time on. Oh my god. For those of you that don't know, I had a PlayStation 2 from almost inception to the death of the controller. Actually, the funny thing is, my brother has a PlayStation 2 out where he had the PlayStation 2 in his room. And the controller still stands to this fucking day. The controller still feels really good in your hands. I love it to pieces. And that controller, I spent so much fucking time playing on. Sly Cooper, the original WWE SmackDown versus Raw games. Fucking hell. There's a lot of games I played. Mortal Kombat, Armageddon, Shaolin Monks, Deception, Deadly Alliance, Lord. How could I almost forget that? I spend so much time perfecting my craft on the PlayStation 2. It's god tier to me. It's god tier. The Nintendo GameCube. Discs were shit. Controller was. This is why I can say the controller outdid the console. Personally. Because I had a Indigo GameCube when I was a kid. This exact controller. And that was the one thing that I heard from the Switch 2 that did hype me up. That the GameCube games were coming back. And I'm like, okay, very sexy. But then I seen on the Switch One that they sold a GameCube controller. I haven't bought it, but oh, the adapter triggers. God tier, God tier. The home entertainment system. I did not hold this for very long, and I don't recall too much of the NES. So I'm gonna put this here. I'm just gonna move this. I never held a Dreamcast controller. And Lord have mercy, this I did not know what the fuck I was doing with the Nintendo 64 controller. Oh my god. I had a Nintendo 64 growing up, Donkey Kong Country, uh, was not Donkey Kong Country. What the fuck am I talking about? Conker's Bad Fur Day, Pokemon Snap. Oh my fucking gun. I believe I had an army. I believe I had a Army Men game that I'm fucking forgetting. Fucking hell. I had a 007 video game. I do recall me having those. And I just remember holding that bitch. You did not know how to hold it. I held it from the two frames over here. And when I needed to use the analog stick, I held the middle. But I'm just like, this is not ergonomically designed, man. That's why when they came out with the GameCube, I'm just like, heaven. And this is what I can speak about now because I have a Wii remote. This it feels good. I'm not gonna say it's not. This does feel good to hold, and for what it feels really good for basically what you need it to do. So when you're pointing, you're clicking, everything is within reach. No matter what, you can just slide yourself, or you can just slide it up and down your hand, and it feels just natural to you regardless. It is. Mm. So I'm gonna put this at S tier. There are some things that the Wii Remote couldn't do right, but it belongs there. It's a really good one. The PlayStation 3 DualShock. Hey, it should be in the same area as the PlayStation 4 controller, but it's a lot more. You know what? It should because it kind of felt relatively the same. This is a lot more sturdier than this, so I'm gonna put this down in. I'm gonna put this down in B tier because Lord, that shit felt flimsy. Even the official ones kind of felt flimsy to me, and I fucking hated that. But to be honest, it worked what it needed to work out for. I loved the pieces, and it was kind of fragile, kind of. I had to. I did have to buy myself a PlayStation 5 controller. If PlayStation 5 was up here, I would put it at A or S tier because these things are sturdy motherfuckers. But sometimes the drift, you know what I mean? The only like the weakest thing on this is the analog, but and that was like the problem with all the dual shocks in a way because this sturdy as fuck. This can survive a fucking earthquake. These two, I can't tell you because even my brother right now because he has the four at the moment. He has the four, and when he's playing it, it's just like all the buttons have a problem, has somewhat like a problem after so long, and you have to, you know, you have to take constant care of this controller, and you kind of had to do the same thing for this. They were meant to be replaced in a way, and that's what I kind of hate. Which one is this? I believe this is a newer one, but what the fuck is this? Which one is this? The Hyperkin Zen Wire controller, official like replica of that. It's then it goes exactly where the well, it can go. It's a wired one. Nah, okay. C tier, C tier, C tier. Because if it does the same functionality as the original, official Xbox controller, then to be honest, it should be it should keep itself out of D. But because it was just formally wired, like after the Xbox, like during the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 eras, we should not be, hooked to, a length on our systems anymore. That's why, like with these controllers, I really do enjoy that they are Bluetooth controllers now, because I hated being like 14 inches from my fucking Lord. Again, sturdy motherfuckers. You heard that clunk. I like how it dropped straight out my hand. It hit a fucking metal pole, and it was just like, did you hear something? I heard nothing. And plus, I have an extra controller over here, so. Anyway, what was that about? Like, I love that it's now Bluetooth, but if during the Xbox 360 era, it should not have been wired. None of these should have been wired. Like, like, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Exception. Exception. Because they were on consoles that did not support Bluetooth. But during the Xbox 360 era and PlayStation 3 era, it was meant to be wireless. You should be playing from the comfort of anywhere. I can understand because, this thing eats batteries like Kirby eats fucking cake. But, which is still a problem today. God damn it, Microsoft. Anyway, I have never held this controller. I will very soon. I will very soon because I plan on buying more stuff. Yep, the Xbox. Yep, the Day Strike Camel Special Edition Xbox Wireless Controller. Yeah, so very soon I will because I do want to play some Xbox exclusives on this channel for like the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X and S. And yes, I do realize that Microsoft just upped that fucking console again by fucking another $100. Once again, fuck you, Microsoft. But uh, eh, again, but I can't even say fuck Microsoft. So all I can do is this: fuck you, Nintendo. In a way, but you do have some pretty good fucking controllers and one controller and one what the fuck controller. But what can I say? The controller makes the system. If the controller does not feel good in your hand when you control a system, then that system is not going to feel good, especially not to you. That's why I really enjoyed when I got myself the original PlayStation as a gift. The controls felt really nice, and I really felt really good about it. That's why on the SNES it felt really fucking good. The GameCube felt really good. These are one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Of course, I own these consoles, and 10. I did not own an original Xbox. I did actually. No, I did. I did own an original Xbox, but I played mostly at my, my family's houses, my cousins' houses and stuff like that, where they had the Xbox 360, the original Xbox. That's where I played the most. So in general, what can I personally say about the controllers? As I said, the controller makes the system. The console does not make the system. The console is not good unless the games decide it. The controller decides it. The shit that comes with it decides the fate of the fucking console. This is why there's grippers to this bitch. The Switch isn't bad. I do like the Switch, but the Wii wouldn't have been mostly possible if this motherfucker did not work or it didn't do what the functionality needed. The system lives and dies by what you control it with and what you play on it. The console itself does not redeem itself. The console itself is defined by what it's played on, and what it's played on it, and what you play with it. If these don't feel good, if none of these feel good, the console dies a death. Why do you think you don't hear anything about hyperscans? You don't hear too much about the Ouya's. You don't hear shit about these things because the console not only sucked, but what was played on them sucked. What you played the console with sucked. If the controller is garbage, then you will perceive the games to be garbage, in a sense. That's why do you think the PlayStation now has these, has always had these uniform shapes? Because it feels good to fucking hold. Why do you think that after the Duke, this is what the console you got? Because it felt good in your damn hands. Why do you think after this, we got this? Because this felt good, this did not. You see where I'm getting? But either way, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all. Thank you guys. Where would you rank these consoles if you were in my shoes here? Let me know. But until next time, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. And I appreciate you guys' time. Until then, peace. See you guys next time.